Hey guys, today I'll be showing you guys how to do frame by frame animation on Photoshop. Uh, I will show you how to set up the documents, set up your timelines, maybe explain a bit of the tools, and edit each individual keyframes, and show you how the layer systems work in Photoshop, especially for the video layers, and also tweening and more. Let's get on to it. Once you have opened up Photoshop, you'll get this kind of screen opener with your previous documents, a new file and open, which is under my face currently. Let me just hide my webcam so you guys can see it. It's right there. And then home, learn, your file shared with you. What you want to do here is press new file. New file will allow you to make a new document. There's a lot of presets available to you, but typically we want to have our orientation to be a landscape, and what we want our width to be is 1920 by 1080p pixels. Usually we want to have 300 dpi. This is for resolution. It means dpi in other terms, pixels per inches, which mean why you want about 300 dpi is because if it's too low, when you zoom into the picture or use it for print or other export it to different media forms, it might be a little bit pixelated, but 300 is about correct for the naked eye to be able to register it's very clear. We want our color modes to be RGB in this case because it's only being seen on a computer. If it's being seen on print-based formats, you might want to change it to CMYK. Bit and the other ones are not relevant. 8-bit or 16-bit depends on your kind of laptop, your screen's refreshment rate, but you can keep it 8-bit. 16-bit if you want super smooth and your screen supports it. What your background color is. Background color doesn't really matter, but usually people tend to go with white. Some people like a black for like the reverse. Background color means whatever you have your background color is selected on the color picker. Transparent means it's going to be a checkered board, which means if you see a checkerboard, it's going to be transparent. So it's up to you how it turns out. And there's also custom. We'll leave it white for now. Color profiles doesn't really matter. This is like just for different screen types. This just adjusts the white balance and basically how each screen's a little bit different. This makes if you know what color space or color profile your screen is outputting out, you can actually just change it to white balance it out perfect into a more neutral color. And we want to keep this at square pixels. And after that, we just want to press create, and now we get our board. I'm going to presume that you know all the tools and functionalities of Photoshop, but if you guys want a breakdown of what every single tool does, let me know and I'll make a video or show you a live demonstration of what like file, edit, layer type, select, and all these tools actually does. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to go over how to start doing some frame by frame animation. From here, we want to go to Windows and find timelines, which will enable timeline here. Sometimes it's not popped in. So for example, if it might show up like that, that means you just need to quickly pop the thing back in by holding the timeline, dragging it to somewhere you like. When it hovers over blue, you're allowed to place it in, and it just snaps it into place. You can place it anywhere you want on the screen basically. After that, you'll want to go and press this button where it says create video timeline and drag this a little bit higher so you can see it a bit better. And as you can see, you've started to make this is your video timeline. Some little short hotkeys for you to know is if you press this button, this will allow you to zoom in further deeper in just to see your frames in more details. I like it. Just make sure you just get it to the way that you want. But the next setting that you want to go to is this little like hamburger symbol with about 3 to 4 lines. you want to click that and set the timeline frame rate. At the moment it's 29.97. Animation is typically done in 24 or 25 and occasionally done in 12s, but that's for more advanced way of thinking, where you are essentially, if you draw on 2s in 24 frames, that's essentially 12 frames. But in this scenario, I'm just going to keep it simple and draw on 2s on 24 because that's the standard. Now we have a background layer. This will allow us, or a reference layer, this will allow us to develop a speed chart or a motion chart or motion graph, up to you, or like assets. You can do a lot of things with this one track, this layer 0, or you can just delete it and start another video group, which I'll get onto in a sec. But for this example, I will make a motion graph and speed chart for my animation. Firstly, I'll change the color to blue, so I can check on this little area. I can press X to switch between the foreground and background color. I'm just gonna keep it blue and don't mind me, I'm going to do this using a mouse, so it might look bad, we'll see, but otherwise let's try it. You can press B to go into the brush for the shortcut, or you can press over here. You can right click to change the hardness of the brush and the size of the brush. So for example, now it's hard, it looks like that. If it's soft, it will look like that, where it's faded edges. Let's hope for the best. This is probably the best I can do. I'm just going to add a little bit of line so I can know where it starts and stops. The midpoint, this is the midpoint of the midpoints, and where it's going to start to slow down and speed up. It should roughly look like this. After that, you'll want to click over here where it's next to this film reel, and add a new video group. This will allow you just a new video group over here. What you want to do after that is press a new layer, which should be this button, and that should go underneath it. You can also press Control Shift N, which will allow you to make a new layer that goes next door to it. But for now, I'm just going to make one new layer. After that, I'm going to resize it to be 1 or 2 frames. So usually animation is done on 2s, sometimes on 1s. As you can see, if I flick over to the next frame, it will be over to 1 and 2 frames. Of course, this can be changed later on, as lots of animation has modulating frames, where it's not consistently on 2s, it's sometimes on 1s for when it's faster paced action and you need a lot more detail, or on 3s when it's really slow action, or even 4s even, but we'll just keep the 2s for now. After we sorted out our 1 frame, now we can drag this over to the duplicate button. So what we can do here is drag this over here, and that will duplicate it and hover over new. If you want to do it, the shortcut for this is Control J as well, or Control C and V. If you want to do multiple frames at once, you can press that, highlight that, drag it over here. That makes it 4 more frames. If you want to do it hotkey ways, we can press Control C and V. This will allow you to copy and paste 4 frames at a time. Now to start animating is you want to select the first frame, which will select the corresponding first layer. I want to change this color to black, I would say, and we can start drawing. So for example, we're going to do a bouncy ball. So I'm going to draw my first ball there and go on to the second frame. However, it disappears, as you can see, when I go on the second frame. This is because we need to enable something called onion skinning, which will allow us to see the frame difference and yeah, be able to animate properly. So over here, back in the timeline setting, we can enable onion skin. As you can see now, if I hover over here, that's where the frame starts, and then when the next frame begins, it's gonna be more transparent, and if I go a bit further, it's going to be gone. This would just indicates where it was on the last frame. On the next frame, I'm going to squish it down to enable it to give it some energy to be able to push upwards. And then we'll constantly move to the next frame. Make sure you're on the correct layer by clicking on it. And we will make this stretch a little bit. I'm just going to quickly whip out something, and I'll be back when I'm done, especially because I'm doing it with a mouse. It's going to be a little bit slower, but continue on how you feel. Sometimes whilst you're doing this, you might click and you're like, oh, it's an error, could not use the brush tool because the timeline playhead is not over the target layer. This means I'm just not on the layer that it's supposed to be corresponding to, so all I have to do is click it. So it just reminds you when you're on the wrong layer. Okay, for people that want to follow along, this is what I ended up with. So I started off with a ball, squished it down, it's going to jump up, jump up, jump up. It's going to go back into a ball when it's at the center point, and when it's going down, it's going to speed up, stretching out, and then back to a ball again. So if you want to see that quickly played, something like that, without the motion graphs, let me just quickly hide this layer. The background layer, we can kind of see what it looks like. There we go. Hopefully that doesn't hurt your eyes without the background layer, but it's just a bouncy ball. A few things to make the playback a little bit easier to see is making, there's like the timeline itself where you can drag left and right to see it. This is called scrubbing, but there's also like a playhead stopper. If you drag this to the end of your animation, you'll be able to loop that area just fine. So if I keep on pressing play, it'll just loop that area basically. Now, for example, if you don't enjoy this timing, let me just change this background quickly to like a different color, so it's easier to see. We can do a lot of things to allow us to see it much better. So for example, here we can still see the onion skin, so if we turn off the onion skin, we can just see it just do its ball thing. Doosh, 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 doosh. Okay, so yeah, from here on we can do a lot of things such as make a new video group, and just kind of make a new frame again. So remember Control-Shift-N to make a new frame. In that new video group, make it 2 frames, put it underneath this one. We have to do it over here. It's a little bit finicky, but it works. We can also rename it, such as this is the line art, and this one can be called color. So now I can go and copy paste this a few times, and I can go individually color the ball in. I'm gonna do a quick job of it. I'm just gonna just roughly do it. And there we have it. We have a blue ball bouncing, kind of, or one bounce. That's the basics of frame by frame animation. I can also loop my playback, for example, so I can do this, and now it loops. And yeah, you can do a lot of things with this basic setup. I'm going to show you a few more techniques before I end it off. So the next technique I wanted to show you guys is basically tweening. So basically I'm going to go through each frame to see which one's the best ball I made. That looks like a pretty good ball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and press, I'm just going to copy it and hide these layers, make a new video layer, make a new video group, put it in, drag out the ball, and now I have a ball. Let me just fill it in as well, so it looks like a great looking ball. And I'm just going to put it into position, so I'm going to start, actually I can use this one as reference. So for example, I can put this at the top again and use this as a starting point reference. And from here I can press this drop down menu, and it will show off positions, opacity and style. Position of course will allow us to change keyframe the position of this. Opacity will allow us to keyframe the opacity of it so it can fade out, and style will allow us to change out like the color and stuff like that. But so what we want to do is go from hit the stop mark to create a diamond shape over here. This will allow us to keyframe it, and then at the end we want to just before it ends we want to keyframe it going over there. So now it will go over there, but in the middle we want it to definitely go up. So let me just keyframe it up here. So now this will go in a rectangular shape going up, but if we keep on doing keyframes for this, it will soon look like an arc. So I'm going to fix it up over here and fix it up over here, and now we have all the keyframes, and now we'll start going like this. The limitations of this is that you have to, for the in-between shapes where we squashed and stretched it, it won't look as natural compared to doing it like this. But this is just a really simple way to tween animations, where you basically the computer generates the in-betweens instead of drawing every single in-between out for you. So if I just erase this, this will look pretty similar but more robotic basically compared to the other guy. If I reveal it, let me just move it to the side just a little bit so they can place side by side. Oh, I have to select all the frames to do that. See if I can do it. Ooh. Nope, can't do it. But yeah, as you can see, the difference between the styles if I switch between them. So this one where it stretches, squash and stretches, whereas the other one just kind of just moves. But anyway guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you guys on the next tutorial.